even the way how you phrase that question gets to the issue. So
Okay.
if you set up as an either or opposition, it'll create confusion.
Hmm.
So it's true what evolutionary science is saying, but it's also true that we descend from people recently.
Say, hang on, if evolutionary theory is telling us anything, it's that we are sort of descended from a pool of people hundreds of thousands of years ago, and but you're saying actually no, everybody on this planet, if you do the mathematics of this, it's plausible that we all came from a single couple. So just explain how that works. I think that's one of the most fascinating
But even the
scientific
way how you
aspects of it.
phrase that, even the way how you phrase that question gets to the issue. So
Okay.
if you set up as an either or opposition, it'll create confusion.
Hmm.
So it's true what evolutionary science is saying, but it's also true that we descend from people recently. So a great way how this gets confused is actually very tightly tied to the reason why I chose genealogical Adam and
Hmm.
Eve as a title rather than genetic Adam and Eve. Let's think about mitochondrial Eve and Y chromosome Adam for a second. They arise more than 100,000 years ago in our past, and they're genetic universal ancestors of everyone. That means that all of us have, well, all of us have DNA from mitochondrial Eve by direct descent from her. And she lived more than 100,000 years in the past. And all men, not women, obviously, have DNA, Y chromosomes by direct descent from Y chromosome Adam, in who also arises 100,000 years in the past. They're universal genetic ancestors.
Hmm.
But here's the thing, here's the kicker. Genetic just means that it's a person from whom we get DNA by direct descent. They're genetic ancestors, and that's where the story has really focused in science. Once again, here's the kicker. Scripture doesn't talk about DNA. It doesn't really address genetic ancestry. It's not something that was really known about to them. They never mention it. They don't talk about Y chromosome Adam, and they don't talk about mitochondrial Eve. What they do talk about is this idea that we all descend from Adam and Eve. If you're to take the genealogies and historical readings of Genesis and Romans and Acts seriously, is the idea that we all descend from Adam and Eve. So the doctrine of monogenesis is well summarized in this way. One of the demands of orthodoxy over the last 500 years became we all descend from Adam and Eve. And what we find out from science is if we relax this idea that it needs to be genetic descent, but we're okay with the idea of just having a genealogical descent, even if that doesn't actually convey any DNA to us, then Adam and Eve, if they lived as recently as 6,000 years ago, would be ancestors, genealogical ancestors of all of us or almost all of us, even though they probably wouldn't give us DNA. The most likely they would be genetic ghosts. And that's entirely consistent with the evidence. And so we're just left now wondering what exactly the conflict is.